Good morning, everyone. How are you? So I wanted to share a little fit tip with you this morning that came up in one of my fitness classes I was teaching the other day, and thought maybe it might be helpful to all of you. So, I know oftentimes when we go down on the ground in a plank position for push-ups, in yoga class, anytime you're down on your hands, if you've ever felt any kind of wrist pain or even pain throughout your hands or pain in your forearms, we oftentimes try to come up with ways to modify or maybe decide, hey, I just can't go down on my hands. And there's a great way to support your wrists so that you can eventually build strength to be able to come down into those plank positions. And I wanted to show you how to do that. So if you are one that has felt pain in your wrists or any of those areas, give a little shout out here, because sometimes it just feels good to know that, hey, I'm not the only one out there. I know I am one who has felt that from years of typing on the computer, being in the software industry, and just life in general. I've had some tendonitis in my wrist, so that's done it. And so then when I started doing yoga years and years ago, I really struggled being in plank and doing those chaturangas. That's where my fitness life really started, was in yoga. And then when I started to do push-ups, it even hurt even more. But I've learned a great way and the proper way to be in that palms down plank position. And so here I'm going to share that with you. Really what you want to do is what I call spidering the fingers. And I think I had a yoga instructor or fitness instructor share that specific term with me a long time ago. So what you want to do is really spread your fingertips wide. So a lot of times when we put our hands down on the ground, our fingertips start to come together. And so this is not spreading your fingertips wide. I want you to really spread them wide. And sometimes this takes a lot of practice over time. So don't beat yourself up if it doesn't happen right away and you keep continuing to go back together. Just keep saying it over and over again. Spread my fingertips wide. So you spread your fingertips wide. And the next thing you want to do is you spider those fingertips down. So notice this is my fingertips flat, and this is me spidering them down. I'm really going to grip my fingertips into the ground, into the mat, whatever surface I'm putting them onto. So as I grip my fingertips, so flat and gripped, as I grip them, there is a space underneath my fingers that will be created. There will be a space created underneath my palm, because it's going to be as though I'm pulling the ground, pulling my mat with my fingertips. I'm going to actually be using the fingertip strength here. So I'm going to spread my fingertips and I'm going to grip the tips of my fingertips down. So I'm going to see if I might need to move my camera just a little bit here. Okay, so I'm going to spread those fingertips wide, and now here they are flat. They're flat on the ground. My palm is flat on the ground right now, okay? Let me show that. So my palm is flat on the ground. Everything's flat. Now I'm going to grip those fingertips down. So the fingers curl up a little bit here. There's space under my fingers. I hope you can see that. So here's flat. Here now I've gripped my fingertips and I can see space and feel space under my fingers. And I am really pressing down and pulling with my fingertips, using my muscles in my fingers. By doing that, that is now taking pressure out of my wrist, even though my palm is still touching the ground. So it's okay that my palm is touching the ground, but really all of the pressure is in my fingertips. Now this part of my palm is hardly touching at all. I mean, I don't even think it's touching. Barely touching. It's not doing really any other work other than helping to help the fingertips pull inwards, okay? So what I see happen a lot of times is people start to put the pressure into that front part of the palm to take they think that's gonna maybe take the pressure out of the wrist. That feels a little better at first, but really what that starts to do is put a little undue pressure into the fingertips and into the wrists and the bones. So really what you want to do is use the muscles instead of the fingertips of the hand, and then that will take the pressure out of the bones and out of the tendons, okay? So I actually take the weight out of this front part of my palm, and I'm putting it, I'm using the muscles to grip into the ground instead. So the back part of my palm is touching. There is a little bit of weight there, but not much at all because I'm gripping so hard with my fingertips instead. And then I can come into my plank. Now I'm right now on my hands and knees. So it's the same. When I'm in that position, I do the same thing. If I were to come up on my toes, I do the same thing. If I start to do a push-up, I do the same thing, okay? And it's taking that pressure out of my wrist. Now, yeah, granted, it takes practice spreading the fingertips. It takes practice gripping the fingers down because you're gonna build up strength in those fingertips, but I want you to continue to practice it. Practice does essentially make perfect. The only way you ever will get better and start to build that strength in the fingers and start to take that pressure out of the wrist and take the pressure out of the front of the palm is by building that strength. Start somewhere. Each and every time you come onto your hands, spreading the fingertips, gripping those fingertips down, and it will happen over time. You might feel a little sore in those fingers at first, and just give them stretches, give them some love. As they build their muscles up, it will work for you, I promise. So another thing I see happen a lot of times is people coming on their knuckles, and I don't, I'm not a doctor. I don't know that that's necessarily wrong because there's a good bone alignment here, right? But I think a much better way to go to start to build your strength to support yourself is this right here, spreading those fingertips wide. Because what I've often seen is sometimes some people will go flat on one palm and then the other wrist is sore. And so one hand's good and the other wrist is sore. Well, now you are uneven. And so what I'm afraid of is now you're going to injure a shoulder or something else will start to get sore in your body because you're uneven. So just be cautious and aware of that. So if you're doing something along these lines, then make sure you are even and doing the same thing on both sides. That's the only thing I would caution you of. So yeah. Those are my fit tips for today. I hope that is helpful to you. Any questions at all, just give a comment here and I'd be happy to chat with you about it. Alrighty, have a happy, what is today? Today is Thursday. Cheers. I'm drinking my hydration right now because I just finished up a very sweaty workout. Cheers to you. Happy Thursday. Bye-bye.